Steve Lombardi, and this is your Legal Minute. Today's question has to do with workers' compensation, and the question is, how much will I get paid each week after I have an Iowa workers' compensation injury? Well, the answer to that depends on the client, because for each client that amount is usually different. Many of our clients ask this question when they're off during the healing period. We call it an indemnity check is what you receive. The weekly compensation rate is the amount that you will receive. So how much will you receive every week? That depends. You'll receive an amount that differs for each worker, and it's based on several factors. These factors are very simple, but they include your marital status, the number of your dependents, and how much you earned for the 13 weeks prior to the injury. Those 13 weeks should reflect full work schedules, not partial work schedules or time off where you're sick or on vacation, unless you're receiving your full pay. So you need 13 full weeks. What is the technical name for what you will receive every week? Well, we call it the weekly compensation rate. And Katrina and I use a reference book, your payroll information, a calculator, your tax returns, and a good old-fashioned pencil to make the calculation. And of course, let's not forget, we also use our brain. Well, what is the technical name for the amount that you can expect to receive each week? That is called the weekly compensation rate, sometimes referred to as just the rate. Next question, who figures out how much the weekly compensation rate should be? Well, the lawyers will make that calculation for you, along with the insurance adjusters and your employers. Your employer sometimes has to provide us with some of the information in order for us to come up with an accurate amount. Do I need to provide the lawyer with anything to make the calculation? And the answer to that is yes. But if you can't, it's not terminal. It's not terminal to your case. You won't lose your case because of it, because we can always get the information from the adjuster as well as the employer. Now, in the case of over-the-road truck drivers, it's a little more difficult because their weekly compensation rate is not straightforward to calculate. They get paid based on the miles they drive, and a lot of times they get deadhead rate pay as well as pay to move product off of the truck. In other words, to unload. They call them lumpers. It's lumper time. So when you're getting paid lumper time or deadhead time, that amount is different than a standard mileage rate. So we usually need the log books for over-the-road truck drivers as well as their paycheck stubs. Now, what do you need to bring with you to the lawyer's office for them to figure out what you are entitled to? Well, you should know whether you are married or single on the date of the injury. We need to know how many dependents are on your income tax return. In other words, how many people did you support, including those you're paying child support on. And then we look back at what you earned during the 13 weeks prior to the injury. So if you have paycheck stubs, bring 15 of them. That's always helpful. Well, that's it for today. This is about your weekly compensation rate in an Iowa workers' compensation case. I'm Steve Lombardi, and if we can help you, please give us a call by following the contact information that's on this website. Thank you and have a good day.